The scene opens with a boy holding his loved one's lifeless body in his lap, grief heavy in his chest. He makes a solemn vow to find her reincarnation and shatter the cycle of death that haunts her. Just as he's lost in his promise, someone gently tries to awaken her. She stirs, her eyes fluttering open, and apologizes to those around her with a faint smile. As she sits up, her mind foggy, she tries to shake off the remnants of her dream. The vivid images linger, however, and she settles into her chair, lost in thought. Was the deceased girl in her dream actually her own subconscious? The question gnaws at her, and she struggles to recall the fleeting details. Her mind races, searching for clues, but the memories slip through her fingers like sand. Sana thinks to herself that she might just be tired, but as she's lost in thought, her friends interrupt, inviting her to karaoke and asking if she's in. She apologizes, citing her part-time job, and her friends kindly suggest they plan something else for next time. As she walks away, her friends quietly observe that she seems busier than before, sparking a mix of emotions within her. Feeling grateful for their concern, she reflects on the past month, realizing it's indeed been tough, gloomier than she initially thought. She reassures herself that she's fine, but the past refuses to fade. Memories of her childhood resurface, memories of her parents' tragic loss in a traffic accident that left her in her grandmother's loving care. That fragile sense of security was short-lived, however, as fate dealt another cruel blow in her final year of high school, taking her grandmother too. Now, alone and adrift, she finds solace in routine. Her days blend together in a haze of part-time jobs, a constant hustle that distracts her from the emptiness. Yet moments like these, quiet, reflective moments, allow the memories to seep back in, reminding her of all she's lost. As she settles into bed, sadness washes over her. She can't bear to reveal her struggles to her friends, the harsh reality of her lifestyle. It's not just the grueling part-time work, but the humble rewards, scavenging for leftover bentos to take home. In the solitude of her apartment, she forces a smile, trying to convince herself that she's rich in spirit. But the facade crumbles and the gloom sets in. With a sorrowful heart, she acknowledges the painful truth. Being alone is suffocating. Surrounded by friends at school and work, she feels connected. But this contrast only highlights the loneliness that awaits her at home. As she steps into the empty space, memories of her grandmother flood her mind. Warm moments of comfort and love that now seem like a distant past. She recalls lying in her grandmother's lap, hearing those precious words of affection that brought her solace and peace. The nostalgia is bittersweet, and sorrow soon overwhelms her. Recognizing the downward spiral, she tells herself to stop dwelling on sadness. Wiping away tears, she shifts her focus to the positives, reminding herself that tomorrow brings a welcome distraction: payday. The thought of receiving her wages lifts her mood, and she reflects on the perks of her part-time job, realizing that, despite its challenges, it's actually a fun experience. The following day, she casually holds her pay in one hand and puts on her best poker face, walking up to the owner with a fake smile. She asks if the shop will be closing and confirms that tomorrow will be her last day. The owner, sensing something amiss, looks at Senna inquisitively and reveals that her parents have suddenly fallen ill, requiring her to return home and care for them. As the owner conveys sympathy and apologizes, Senna politely reassures her that everything will be fine. However, her calm face cracks as she walks away, and sadness creeps onto her face. Her thoughts are consumed by concern about finding a new part-time job. Just then, an elderly man, hobbling due to a bad leg, stops her. Distraught over losing his wallet, he explains his predicament, further complicating his already challenging situation. As the elderly man apologizes profusely for asking her to lend him money for a taxi, citing his desperation due to his lost wallet, she feels a pang of sympathy. However, her hesitation reveals her own financial concerns, particularly her upcoming rent payment. After weighing her options, she carefully extracts a small amount from her wallet and hands it to him, explaining that it's all she can afford to give. The elderly man's face lights up with gratitude, but a stranger suddenly appears and kicks the elderly man, sending him sprinting away. She watches in shock. Her astonishment deepens when a bizarre figure, adorned with horns on his head, emerges from the crowd and asserts that the elderly man's leg was never injured. This revelation sparks skepticism, but as she gazes after the fleeing elderly man, she realizes the stranger's claim is true. There was indeed nothing wrong with his leg. Her shock shifts to dismay as she realizes she's been deceived. The man tells her she nearly fell for it, and she thanks him for his help. Grateful for his timely help, she acknowledges his good nature. But his expression shifts, and he moves closer, revealing that he has been searching for her in this world. The term world sparks confusion, but before she can inquire, he addresses her by name with a knowing smile, hinting at a prior connection. She locks eyes with the horned stranger, unease creeping in as she wonders if he's a stalker. This unsettling feeling prompts her to reach for her phone to call for help. As she seeks assistance, a passing stranger catches her desperate appeal and stops. He then turns to the horned stranger, inquiring about his bizarre attire. The horned stranger notices her unease and suddenly transforms, dressing identical to the boy from earlier, attempting to alleviate her discomfort. This sudden change, however, only intensifies her fear, prompting her to swiftly turn and run away. As she flees, her mind races with questions about his unusual nature. Moreover, she can't shake the unsettling feeling that he knows her intimately. Specifically, she wonders how he knows her name, and this lingering inquiry heightens her anxiety. As she enters her home, she breathes a sigh of relief, thinking she's outrun the stranger. However, her relief is short-lived as she finds him sitting in her chair, his unsettling presence sending shivers down her spine. His casual remark about her house being like a small hut only heightens her unease and terrified. She warns him that she'll call the police if he doesn't leave immediately. The stranger's unnerving gaze lingers on her, implying that she's forgotten something significant, further intensifying her fear. The stranger takes a step closer, his eyes locking onto hers with an unnerving intensity. He discloses that he is a demon lord, and she is the reincarnation of a saint. His words send shivers down her spine as he confesses that he has been searching for her for an eternity. Without warning, he reaches out and gently cradles her face in his hands. He informs her that from that day forward, he will be staying with her. Hearing his words, she's overcome with fear and anger, her emotions boiling over as she declares his story unbelievable and demands that he leave immediately. However, he remains unfazed, his expression darkening to reveal a sinister intent. This chilling transformation is punctuated by his cold threat that he will kill whoever resides next door and take their place. The brutality of his words leaves her speechless, her mind reeling in horror as the weight of his menace settles in. He swings open the door and strides to the neighboring residence, pressing the doorbell. The sudden ringing makes her jump, deepening her shock as she realizes his true nature. Her growing unease is confirmed. She's convinced he has killer instincts. This suspicion is reinforced when he casually observes that no one seems home, his tone betraying no concern. With an unsettling intensity, he contemplates eliminating the neighbor, his gaze glinting with menace. Her fear erupts into outraged protest as she cannot let him commit murder, her words tumbling out in desperation. He poses a disturbing question, asking how he can stay by her side if he cannot kill anyone. This inquiry sparks her outrage, as she's appalled by his willingness to kill for the sake of being with her. Her confusion and unhappiness deepen as she struggles to understand his twisted reasoning. Desperate for clarity, she demands to know what drives his violent intentions. As their gazes meet, her eyes plead with him to spare lives. Impelled by emotion, she implores him not to harm anyone else. His eyes widen in surprise. She's the first person to ever challenge him. Yet he appears to reevaluate his stance, promising to refrain from hurting another person. Her curiosity gets the better of her, and she asks about the source of his earlier power. This inquiry prompts him to reveal that it's something that doesn't exist in this world, identifying it as magic. Her eyes widen in surprise as she processes this revelation, leading her to inquire how he entered her house without an invitation. He explains that it's teleportation. She presses for clarification on his shape-shifting ability, specifically his transformation into a salaryman. He hesitates, unsure what she means by salaryman, until she clarifies the term, describing the ordinary office worker he had disguised himself as. This explanation prompts him to reveal a shocking truth. The man was brainwashed. Her eyes widen in alarm as she processes this revelation, her mind reeling from the implications of his unsettling abilities. Just then, a welcome distraction appears outside the window, an adorable cat. The feline's charming face captivates her, and she walks over to shower it with affection. He can't help but wonder, does her fondness for living creatures extends beyond animals? His gaze lingers on her, seeking answers. Gazing at the cat's lovely face, she notes that there are probably very few people who don't like them. As she stands there, smitten, she considers what she can do to show her affection. Her eyes are still on the cat, and she thinks about feeding it, recalling that she has a loaf of bread. He asks about the cat's diet, and she explains that it eats only the finest cat food. She shows him a picture, just in case he needs visual guidance. This prompts him to magically conjure up a replica of the cat food, complete with adorable packaging. She is puzzled and asks about his motivations for feeding the cat. He wants to treasure the same things she does, including the affection of this furry little dictator. His actions soften her expression. She notes, with a hint of amusement, that he shouldn't suddenly become sweet and charming, as she's not sure she can handle nice guy magic. She lies down on the bed and drifts off to sleep. Upon waking, she wonders to herself when she had dozed off, feeling a sense of disorientation. As she sits up, he approaches her, his presence a gentle reminder that she's no longer alone. His remark that she's finally awakened brings a hint of a smile to her face. Glancing around the room, she notices the futon, neatly laid out, and thinks to herself that he must have prepared it for her. Grateful for his thoughtfulness, she offers him a slice of bread, a simple gesture of appreciation. However, he hesitates, his expression tinged with uncertainty as he ponders whether a demon lord's nature allows him to partake in mortal sustenance. His gaze falls upon the half slice of bread, and his eyes narrow, observing the signs of financial struggle, the humble shack, the meager food. Her face falls, and a gloomy expression settles in as she admits the difficulty of her situation. Seeking to ease his concern, she rummages through her storage and produces a sachet of jam. As they eat together, he sits across from her, his gaze fixed intently on her face, stirring memories of her grandmother and the warmth of shared meals. This nostalgia reminds her of the simple joys she's been missing. She realizes it's been a long time since she's experienced such comfort, her eyes locking onto his as if searching for a connection. His attentive gaze notices her savoring each bite, prompting him to wonder if she derives great pleasure from this humble meal. Despite his unspoken question, she's content with her simple fare, requiring nothing more. However, his concern grows as he notes the sadness creeping onto her face, a stark contrast to her carefree happiness the previous day with the cat. This observation triggers a pang of reflection, and her thoughts drift to her recent job loss, and she lets out a deep sigh. As she scrolls through listings, she reminds herself that she cannot let this setback depress her. Instead, she must proactively seek a new opportunity. Her intense focus catches his attention, and he inquires about her activities, but she ignores him, fixated on finding a solution. Her search yields a promising result, a job listing offering 2,000 yen per hour, flexible hours, and the option to work from home, ideal for high school students. This prospect revives her, especially with the added perks of a part-time cafe position, a free meal, and guaranteed hours. With renewed hope, she swiftly dials the number, determined to regain control over her finances. He gestures towards it, seeking clarification on its purpose. She explains that it's just a smartphone, but his fascination lingers. His attention turns to the TV, and he points, wondering aloud if it serves the same function. She clarifies that it's a television, amused by his naivety. Intrigued, he approaches the TV and becomes engrossed in the programming. She watches him, pondering her own priorities, such as preparing for the interview. Should she change into something more suitable? She decides on her uniform, thinking it's simplest. Meanwhile, she's still unsure how to manage his presence. As he remains captivated by the TV, she wonders if he finds it entertaining. His reaction is endearing, but she must focus on her upcoming interview. With a warm smile, she informs him that she'll be stepping out for a bit, and asks if she can leave him in charge of looking after the house. His nod of assurance puts her at ease. He responds confidently, indicating that he's got everything under control, which allows her to focus on her upcoming interview. Before leaving, she ties her hair back, preparing for her departure, and lets him know that she'll be back soon. This brief goodbye ritual helps her feel more organized. As she heads out, she thinks to herself that since her home lacks valuable items, leaving him there poses minimal risk. This reassuring thought frees her mind to concentrate on the interview. His response echoes in her thoughts, reassuring her that he wants to treasure the same things she does, yet she can't shake off the lingering intrigue. Shaking her head, she refocuses on her immediate goal. Standing before the rundown building, she reminds herself that landing this job is her top priority. Gazing up at the rundown structure, she senses unease, thinking that this place looks like bad news. Her suspicion is momentarily interrupted by a boy emerging from the building. He taps her on the shoulder, inquiring if she is there for the interview, breaking the spell of her doubts. Confirming her presence, she follows him into the cafe. As they enter, two men notice her, their gazes lingering. One whispers to his friend that she would look perfect in a nurse's outfit, his comment sparking a mix of curiosity and discomfort. She scans the scene, her instincts flashing red flags. The nurse outfit requirement sends a shiver down her spine. The boy's casual declaration that intimacy is a job expectation which leaves her reeling, anxiety etched on her face. Certain she's entered a wrong turn, she shifts to leave. but a man's firm grip on her hand stalls her exit, his probing gaze implying a question. Is her age a barrier? Shrugging off his hold, she's swiftly surrounded by 3 men, their predatory stares making her skin prickle. Their sugary words drip with ulterior motives that her youth is a valuable commodity. As the men's grasping hands and seductive whispers envelop her, she's suddenly rescued by his timely arrival. The demon lord. His imposing presence sends her captors into stunned silence. Their eyes wide with wonder, they gaze at him, questioning how he materialized in their midst. She rushes into his embrace, relief washing over her. She asks how he knew she was in danger, her trembling voice filled with gratitude. He reveals that his telepathy allowed him to watch over her, his piercing gaze scanning her for signs of harm. He then inquires if she's unharmed. Regaining their composure, the men demand to know his identity, their anger and frustration evident. As his gaze turns icy, darkening his shadow, she intervenes, pleading with him not to unleash his wrath. He hesitates, then summons a whimsical distraction. A flurry of cats materializes around them, filling the space with playful meows. As they reach out to pet the cats, their fascination grows. Entranced, they cradle the felines in their arms, showering them with affection. Seizing the distraction, he sweeps her into his arms, unnoticed by the captivated men, and disappears with her into the night. In an instant, they materialize at his residence. Gently, he sets her down. She wonders aloud about the unexpected appearance of the cats, curiosity sparkling in her eyes, questioning his motive. His mystifying smile hints at his reasoning, but he offers no explanation. As he offers a gentle explanation, his words soothe her frazzled nerves, revealing that the cats are animals everyone adores. This clever tactic, she realizes, allowed him to rescue her without harming anyone. Her gaze lifts to meet his, and in his eyes she sees a deep sincerity, confirming that he kept his word. Gratitude swells within her, and she thanks him for rescuing her from the unsafe situation. Her radiant smile captivates him, illuminating the darkness in his gloomy eyes. For the first time, he's witnessed her genuine joy, and it stirs something profound within him. Emotion overwhelms him, and he envelops her in a warm, comforting hug. As he holds her close, his sincere love for her spills out in a heartfelt confession. Her grandmother's words echo in her mind, that he would always cherish her. She recalls the gentle assurance and her heart swells. She wraps her arms around him, deepening their embrace. But suddenly, he gently pushes her onto the bed and lies down beside her. As she tries to shift him off her, he whispers a faint explanation. He has expended too much energy. His voice trails off into a soft murmur, and he succumbs to sleep, his weight pressing down on her. She marvels at the unexpected turn of events, thinking to herself that he's really sleeping like this. In the quiet darkness, she ponders what to do next. Yet as she hugs him tightly, her thoughts soften, and she still wants to be by his side. She gently shifts him to his side and sits beside him, gazing at his peaceful face. She reflects on their living arrangement, realizing she's the one who suggested they move in together. Financial concerns now weigh heavily on her mind, especially after losing her part-time job. His eyes snap open, and he grasps her hand, his gaze locking onto hers. He's deeply relieved to see her alive. Overcome with emotion, he draws closer, his lips inches from hers. His vow is clear that he'll never let her die again. But just as their lips are about to meet, she surprises him with a sharp slap across the face. He blinks twice, then suddenly grins and greets her with a cheerful good morning. She's taken aback, her anger boiling over as she demands to know if he had just tried to kiss her. His silent, clueless stare speaks volumes. Her expression shifts from fury to frustration as she realizes he doesn't remember a thing. She shakes her head, thinking that living with him is indeed a recipe for disaster. Meanwhile, he stretches, oblivious to the tension, clearly refreshed from his nap. He confirms he's fine now, having shaken off the disturbing dream. Her curiosity piqued, she wonders if his earlier words, "He'll never let her die again," held a deeper meaning, perhaps hinting at a tragic loss in his past. His expression darkens, revealing discomfort at the memory. Pressing for answers, she directly asks about the nature of their relationship. However, he clams up, refusing to disclose any information about their shared history. His abrupt silence leaves her stunned, her questions lingering in the air. She realizes he's determined to keep his secrets hidden, leaving her with only fragments of their mysterious past. Seeking to change the subject, he inquires about her living situation, asking if she resides by herself. She responds with a bittersweet smile, revealing that her parents and grandmother have passed away, leaving her to live alone. She quickly adds that she's content with her independent lifestyle, clarifying that she doesn't view living alone negatively. His expression softens as he listens, and he gently takes her hand, He assures her that she won't be alone anymore, vowing never to let her become isolated again. His words leave her both puzzled and inexplicably happy. However, his expression turns somber as he acknowledges failing her that day. Lost in thought, he reveals that he utilized his clairvoyance to monitor her situation when they were apart, discovering that his actions had inadvertently put her in harm's way. He then vows never to leave her side again, determined to ensure her safety. As she prepares dinner, cutting vegetables with precision, he stands beside her, his gaze fixed intently on her. She finds his steady stare distracting and informs him that she cannot concentrate under such scrutiny. He continues to watch her, his unwavering gaze reflecting a deep-seated resolve to protect her. He gazes at the knife in her hand, noting its sharpness and expressing concern about the potential danger. She dismisses the idea of an accident happening, finding it improbable. Her eyes then drift to his attire, and she comments on its formless, feeling stifled by it. With a swift gesture, he conjures a transformation, replacing his formal outfit with a casual ensemble. He seeks her approval, inquiring about his new look. She admires the sudden change, observing that he now appears effortlessly casual. He attributes his fashion inspiration to a TV show he watched the previous day. His attention shifts to the food preparation, and he remarks on the seemingly small quantity. She playfully explains that the portion appears small because she had made his serving excessively large. While cutting vegetables, she accidentally slices her finger. She cries out in pain, then quickly composes herself, insisting she's fine. He gently requests to examine her finger. She hesitates, but he takes her hand, cradling her finger. He tenderly kisses and licks the injured digit. Releasing her hand, he inquires if she feels better. She glances at her finger, astonished to find no wound. He reveals that his saleva possesses healing properties. Intrigued, she suggests that next time he could simply snap his fingers or use a less intimate method. He smiles, his eyes sparkling with amusement. He admits that only saints can wield restorative magic, while his abilities are restricted to healing minor wounds through licking. She feels embarrassed by the intimate gesture and requests that he find alternative methods for healing her in the future. As the tension shifts, his face lights up with relief, and he wraps her in a warm hug. The sincerity in his voice is palpable as he expresses gratitude that her injury was confined to her finger. Despite her attempts to resist, he holds her firmly in place. Trapped in his embrace, she becomes acutely aware of her personal hygiene. Realizing she hasn't bathed since yesterday, she realizes she had completely forgotten about her personal hygiene, preoccupied with the sudden events. Renewing her efforts, she struggles to break free from his grasp, insisting he release her. He cautions her to be careful, warning that struggling near sharp objects is hazardous. Embarrassment creeping into her voice, she reveals that she hasn't taken a bath yet. Frustrated, she lands a gentle slap on his face, emphasizing that there's a limit to how long he can hold her. He tenderly places his hand on her cheek, wincing at the pain. She pleads with him to at least grant her freedom within her own home. He makes a pitiful face, relenting and granting her freedom within their home. He then releases her, allowing her to take her bath. As she immerses herself in the warm water, she reflects that this wasn't her idea of timing. She thinks to herself that his persistent pressure led her to this moment. Drying her ears with a towel, her mind wanders to the unusual medical treatment he provided, considering that such healing would be troublesome in its own way. A deeper concern emerges that living alone with the Demon King poses significant risks. Her thoughts swirl with uncertainty, weighing the implications of their unconventional arrangement. Her tranquil reverie shattered, she let out a piercing scream. Rushing to her aid, he burst into the bathroom, concern etched on his face. She clutched his shirt, revealing her deep-seated fear of bugs. Bugs were the one thing she just couldn't handle, and her voice trembled as she admitted it. As they watch the bug escape through the window, his gaze shifts to her naked form, his eyes widening in surprise. He inquires about her state of undress, prompting her to find the question amusing, considering the obvious context of bathing. To herself, she wonders if he's truly unaware of basic bathing norms. Suddenly self-conscious, she covers herself with her hands. Looking up, she's struck by his endearing expression, his eyes closed in innocence. His innocent facade only adds to her growing unease, as she hastens to rectify the situation. She picks up the blow-dryer and begins drying her hair, the loud hum filling the air. Irritated by the noise, he turns towards her with closed eyes. She playfully teases him, suggesting she's still naked. His face contorts into that same innocent, yet adorable, expression. She can't contain her laughter this time and tells him to open his eyes, revealing it was just a joke. She apologizes for teasing him, His eyes snap open, and a faraway look crosses his face as memories of her previous life flood his mind. He marvels at his luck, living with her again in such an intimate setting. Shaking off her giggles, she approaches him with a refreshed mind and asks what's troubling him. Curiosity sparks in his eyes as he examines the hairdryer, prompting him to inquire about its purpose. She explains its function. Intrigued, he showcases his magical alternative, drying her hair with a mere gesture. She observes that his powers make mornings remarkably easier. He confirms, acknowledging the convenience of magic in his daily routine. With a playful tone, she highlights the benefits of his abilities, noting he could have dressed her earlier. He confesses to being too flustered to think clearly at the time. His vulnerability delights her, fostering a deeper connection between them. She explains that it's a simple meal of rice and bean sprouts. His eyes remain fixed on the food, and she adds that if he plans to live with her, he will have to adjust to a frugal lifestyle. He listens intently, his expression unwavering. She notes, her voice tinged with apology, that living together means embracing austerity. Undeterred, he reassures her that being with her is all that truly matters. He declares that even if they have nothing to eat, he will be content as long as they are together. His words warm her heart, and she realizes that their life together, a demon king and a mortal, is truly beginning.
Here I am, know it's been a while. I was in denial about my love. Here I stand, I know I walked away.